Welcome to 7 Days Report, your reliable source of information from all major news from around the world. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsilogiannis, and I'm happy to have you here with us this evening. Every weekend at 12 p.m. and 9 p.m., we bring you the latest headlines, in-depth analysis, and insightful commentary on the stories that matter most. Whether you're tuning in for a recap of the week or looking for a deeper understanding of global events, we've got you covered. Let's start with our first news. A massive power outage has plunged large parts of Spain and Portugal into chaos on Monday, causing widespread disruption across major cities including Madrid, Lisbon, Barcelona, Valencia, and Seville. The blackout, which began around midday, has affected public transport systems, traffic lights, airports, hospitals, and telecommunications, leaving millions without electricity. In Madrid, the underground metro system has been evacuated and traffic lights have failed, resulting in severe traffic congestion. The Madrid Barajas Airport, the busiest in Spain, has also lost power, causing travel chaos. Train services across Spain have been halted as the entire national electricity grid was cut off, according to the Spanish railway operator Renfe. The blackout was triggered by a very strong oscillation in the electrical network, which caused Spain's power system to disconnect from the European grid, leading to the collapse of the Iberian electricity network at 12:38 p.m. local time, said Eduardo Prieto, director of Red Electrica, Spain's transmission system operator. The cause remains under investigation, with authorities considering the possibility of a cyber attack, though no definitive conclusion has been reached. Madrid's mayor, José Luis Martínez Almeida, urged residents to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary travel, emphasizing that emergency services should only be contacted for urgent situations to keep roads clear for emergency personnel. Efforts to restore power are underway, with some regions beginning to recover electricity supply, but operators warn it could take between 6 to 10 hours to fully resolve the crisis. The Spanish and Portuguese governments have convened emergency meetings to manage the situation and investigate the causes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's wife, Sarah Netanyahu, has ignited controversy after being overheard on a live microphone stating that fewer than 24 hostages remain alive in Gaza. The comment, made during a public event, has caused distress among the families of those still held captive and raised new questions about the fate of the remaining hostages. The Israeli government has publicly maintained in recent weeks that up to 24 of the 59 hostages believed to be held in Gaza are still alive. During the event, Prime Minister Netanyahu reiterated this figure, saying, up to 24 living. However, Sarah Netanyahu, seated beside him, quietly interjected, fewer, prompting the Prime Minister to clarify, I say up to, and express regret for those presumed dead. The exchange has fueled demands for transparency from the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, which represents the families of those abducted. In a statement, the group accused the Netanyahus of instilling indescribable fear in families already enduring unbearable uncertainty and questioned why the Prime Minister's wife appears to have access to sensitive information not shared with relatives. Currently, there are 59 hostages still in Gaza, with Israeli officials expressing grave concerns about the fate of several. The government has not confirmed the exact number of living hostages, but Sarah Netanyahu's remark suggests the toll may be even higher than previously acknowledged. Families continue to plead for clarity and for renewed efforts to secure the safe return of their loved ones. President Donald Trump announced a temporary easing of his controversial auto tariffs, granting U.S. automakers a 2-year reprieve as they adapt their supply chains. The move comes after intense lobbying from the automotive industry, which warned that the 25% tariffs on imported vehicles and parts, set to take full effect this week, would drive up car prices, disrupt manufacturing, and threaten jobs across the sector. Under the new executive order, automakers will receive credits and partial reimbursements on tariffs paid for imported components used in U.S. assembled vehicles. For the first year, companies can claim credits worth up to 3.75% of the value of domestically produced cars, dropping to 2.5% in the second year. These credits can be used to offset duties on imported parts, excluding those from China, effectively lowering the immediate cost burden for manufacturers while incentivizing them to boost domestic production. Additionally, the administration clarified that auto tariffs will not be stacked atop existing levies on steel, aluminum, or imports from Canada and Mexico, preventing cumulative penalties that industry leaders feared would cripple North American supply chains. Trump, visiting Michigan to tout the policy, framed the decision as a win for American workers and manufacturers, stating the adjustment will bolster United States vehicle assembly operations by motivating companies to enhance domestic production capacity. Automakers welcomed the relief, but analysts cautioned that some price increases and uncertainty may persist as the industry navigates the evolving trade landscape. Sister Ina Canavaro Lucas, a Brazilian nun recognized as the world's oldest person, passed away on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, in Porto Alegre, Brazil. She was 116 years and 326 days old, just weeks shy of what would have been her 117th birthday. The Congregation of Teresian Sisters of Brazil announced her death in a statement expressing gratitude for the dedication and devotion she had shown throughout her life. According to her religious order, Canavaro died peacefully at her residence due to natural causes. Born on June 8, 1908, Sister Ina became a nun in 1934 at the age of 26, between World Wars I and II. Despite being so frail as a child that many doubted she would reach adulthood, she went on to become the 15th oldest documented person in history and the second oldest nun after France's Lucille Randon, who lived to 118. Earlier this year, Canavaro had earned the title of world's oldest person following the death of Japanese woman Tomiko Ituka, who was also 116. When asked about the secret to her longevity, she attributed it to her Catholic faith, saying, "He is the secret of life. He is the secret of everything." In a video recorded by LongeviQuest in 2023, she displayed a cheerful demeanor, sharing anecdotes and showing small paintings of wildflowers she had created. Following her death, the title of world's oldest living person now passes to Ethel Caterham, a 115-year-old resident of Surrey, England. Born on August 21, 1909, Caterham is believed to be the last surviving individual born during the reign of King Edward VII. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has hailed a newly signed investment deal between Ukraine and the United States as truly equal, marking a significant shift in the partnership between the two nations. The agreement, finalized in Washington on April 30th, establishes a joint investment fund designed to modernize Ukraine's industries and support its post-war reconstruction, while granting the U.S. preferential access to Ukraine's critical mineral resources. Under the terms of the deal, Ukraine will allocate 50% of the income generated from new licenses for natural resource initiatives covering vital minerals, oil, and gas into the fund. The United States, in turn, will count any future aid or direct financial contributions as investments in the fund. Profits are expected to be split equally, and the fund will be managed by a board with equal representation from both countries. Importantly, Ukraine retains full ownership and oversight of its resources, addressing earlier concerns about sovereignty and prior drafts that would have required Kyiv to relinquish significant revenues. Zelensky described the agreement as a historic outcome, emphasizing that it opens the door to substantial investment and modernization while safeguarding Ukraine's legal and economic interests. Ukrainian officials succeeded in removing any obligation to repay past U.S. military aid, with the focus now on future cooperation and investment. While the deal does not include explicit security guarantees, it signals ongoing U.S. support for Ukraine's economic recovery and integration into global markets, an outcome seen as a diplomatic victory for Kyiv. The agreement now awaits ratification by Ukraine's parliament. Australians are voting this weekend, 3rd May 2025, in a pivotal federal election that will determine the nation's next government and set the direction for the 48th Parliament. All 150 seats in the House of Representatives and 40 of the 76 Senate seats are being contested, with over 18 million registered voters expected to participate. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labour Party is seeking a second term, facing off against the Liberal National Coalition led by Peter Dutton. The campaign has been marked by debates over healthcare, housing, tax policy, and climate action, with both major parties unveiling significant spending promises and policy commitments in the lead up to polling day. According to YouGov's final MRP projection, Labor is on track for a convincing win, likely securing 84 seats in the House of Representatives, well above the 76 needed for a majority. The coalition is projected to drop to just 47 seats, its lowest share since 1946. Minor parties and independents are expected to increase their presence, reflecting a shift in voter sentiment away from the major parties. Labor's projected victory represents a dramatic turnaround from earlier in the year, when polling suggested the coalition might reclaim government. Key battlegrounds in outer suburban and regional areas, once leaning coalition, have swung back to Labor in the final weeks of the campaign. With a projected two-party preferred vote of 52.9% for Labor, Australia appears poised to return the Albanese government for another term, signaling continuity and stability in national leadership. As we wrap up another edition of the 7 Days Report, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks for joining me this evening. We've covered a wide array of significant global events, and I hope you found our news insightful and engaging. Remember, you can catch us every weekend at 12 p.m. and 9 p.m. for your weekly major news from around the world. Stay tuned for our next meeting, where we'll dive deeper into the stories shaping our world. Until then, take care and keep informed. This is Vasilios Nikolaos Vitzilogiannis signing off. Goodbye.